the point of chapter 2 is that you need to have connection in order to achieve balance. The wind systems that I talked about, they need, if you have a high pressure wind and a low pressure wind, nothing happens unless they connect. There has to be a connection. So if this is glasses of water, the connection could be a straw. But wind always flows when there's connection. If there's no connection, there's no energy flow. If you're mad and have to vent at somebody, but they don't want to talk to you, if they ghost you or shun you or ignore you, then you're stuck with that energy. You can't vent, you got to vent to somebody else. Yeah. Right? You have to have that connection in order to release that energy. And in order, if somebody needs to speak to you, you have to be willing to listen in order for them to feel understood or to be understood.
Yeah.
Connection, the critical piece of connection, and the epiphany I had years ago is that when we're truly connected, we share information. And when you share information with somebody, you're connected. And that's all it takes to move energy, is to feel connected. When we feel connected,
and even when
we are.
you're on the same page or not, like if you can talk back and forth without judgment, you can really create a good flow.
Mm-hmm.
Like even politically, if the two parties would just like be able to connect in a way where they both can have some point of a win, like a lot can happen.
Yeah. Well, we get too worried about winning or losing.
Yes.
And then it gets too hard to connect.
Yeah.
And but that's what happens when we perceive somebody else as the other. Then we measure and compare, and somebody has to win and somebody has to lose, and so it becomes really hard to connect because we don't want to give energy and we don't want to receive energy that we might not like. Because if you talk to somebody you don't like and you realize that you're going to achieve balance and you're going to understand them, that's going to make you wrong for all the times you claim to people that they were a jerk or whatever. I mean, that's that's people's resistance is in their history usually. I mean, people who have judged me and gossiped nonsense about me then later find it really difficult to connect and be friends with me because they've got this history of talking trash.
Yeah.
And
I think that's happened to everybody.
It certainly does. Well, it does happen to everybody, and we're going to start moving that energy now. Because there's the energetic reasons for why that happens can be easily shifted once we have a vocabulary for what we're looking at here. I have not taught this class in a couple of years. I mean, it's part of my 10-month, but just as a standalone class, this is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
The piece about connection, when we feel connected to somebody, we share information. And, if you're really connected to somebody and you're at a party and they give you a glance, you'll know exactly what that glance means. It might mean, hey, let's leave, or hey, meet me at the punch bowl, or isn't this guy a jerk? Like, you know exactly what that glance means when you're connected to the person. Because you get all of the subtle information behind the glance is able to travel to you and you receive it. But if you're not connected with somebody, if you don't like them, or if it's a fake connection, you're at a party and they give you that same glance, you're not going to have any idea what it means. Or you don't even know if it's for you. You might look around and think it's for the other person.
Yeah.
That happens a lot with people who are not really connected with. There's just many ways to share and many ways to connect. But they always go hand in hand. If you're super connected with somebody, then you're super sharing with them. And if you're just a little bit connected, then you're just sharing a little bit.
Right.
We're going to get into contracting and expanding that connection and expanding and contracting the balance. Because lots of times you're connected to something you don't want and the balance is overwhelming. A car accident.
I guess that's why I brought that up.
Yeah. I mean, a car accident is an example of balance. I mean, one person's going one way too fast, another person's not moving at all. Boom.
Right.
The person moving too fast suddenly stops, and the person who wasn't moving suddenly,
goes flying. Yeah.
Right. So that, balance also occurs in many, many different ways and under many different disguises. Right. So if we were using our minds to understand EnergyWorks, we would go crazy because we would have to learn 1,000 new words for snow. Like there's, the word energy encompasses so many different things. And when I was about 20 years old when I really started diving into the spiritual studies. And one of my teachers told me that everything is energy. She's like, oh, it's all just energy. But then she didn't explain it. And I spent 9 years trying to unpack what she was trying to explain to me.
Right.
I mean, what she was trying to say is it's all about how things feel.
Yeah.
It's
I never thought of it that way.
Well, it took me 9 years to figure out that's what she meant. But that just shows you how much in my head I was.
Well, that's maybe the math or the order of it.
Yeah.
Like, you may not have ever thought of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, she loved to say that everything is vibrating. It's all vibrating, and what we're feeling is the vibrations. And so my question is, well, what's vibrating? I'm always trying to peel back. It's just my nature. I'm always want to peel back the curtain and find out what's going on underneath that. What's going on underneath that? What's going on underneath this? Well, what's vibrating? And what's vibrating is vibration. I mean, that's what's really funny.
Yeah.
Is that there is nothing solid in the universe at all. It's just fake. It's pretend solid. It's something vibrating here touches something else vibrating, and they bounce off each other, and that makes them feel solid. But I mean, the quantum physicists tell us this. How are we feeling with balance and connection so far? I know it's super simple. It's like duh information, but
I still find it interesting.
Okay,
it's
good.
not something that like we talk about much, so I find it interesting.
Good. Well, it's the foundation of what we're going to look at, and you really have to get that balance is the only thing going on in the universe. When things are moving into balance, in some circles that's called flow. People say go with the flow. Yeah. What they mean is get in balance, right? Or go with the balance. Don't go against balance. The universe is always seeking balance. It's just always moving in that direction. And when we move, when we move against that flow of balance, that's when we get into trouble, and that's when life becomes difficult.
Okay.
So I'm gonna, this class is about learning how to identify and feel flow so that we can go with it and flow with it. Or shift the flow into a more optimal thing if it's not what we want. The first thing is the universe is always seeking balance. Always, always, always. There's no example where the universe is not seeking balance. And any example where the universe appears to not be seeking balance, that's really just a minor adjustment. And, if you can think of an example where the universe does not seek balance, please share it so we can unpack it and take a look at it. But there isn't one. Air.
Well, I've thought of that. It's funny that you should mention that. I thought of that, so I'm gonna just play you on this.
Please do.
I don't feel like the angels have anything besides good. I think there really are some things that are innately good. like the angels, I feel like they're just trustworthy, right? That's just my opinion.
But
and I feel like we evolve in a way that we become more good. Not trying to put it in a judgment terms, but I don't know how else to word it.
Well, energy is just about maybe we should have defined what energy is, because energy is just movement, right? Emotions are energy in motion. Energy is motion. It's not good or bad. I mean, the angels, whether they're good or bad, I don't judge either way. But there is a flow. So if you talk to them, energy's going to them. And if they talk to you, then energy's coming to you.
Yeah. I feel like there's helpful and not helpful, maybe.
Well, sure, but whether it's helpful or not, it's still coming to you, or it's moving away from you. And in either one of those cases, it's about balance. If the angels have information that you don't have, then they want to give it to you, right? They want you to be in balance with them. And if you feel like you're missing something that they have, then you'll ask for it. And you're also looking for balance from them. If they have something, if they're missing something that you have, the angels might ask you, "What's it like to have a body?"
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
we do talk about that, actually.
Yeah, so it goes, like, balance is always happening with those within the systems that we're connected to. So if you're connected to angels, right, or spirit guides, then you're sharing with them. Energy comes to you, and energy goes from you.
Yeah. It's
back and forth. And that is also an experience of balance. If they're sharing information with you that you don't have, that's balancing out information.
And for me, it's connection.
Yeah, right. Because when you're connected, they're sharing. And when they're sharing, there's connection.
Yeah.
Can't get around it.
Right. Yeah.
So, balance is just about the direction that energy is flowing. It's not about what the energy is.
Okay.
And whether it's good or bad or evil or whatever, like that's a judgment, right? And I get that some things might not feel good and some things feel better, but that's a different chapter of the book. For this chapter right here, it's just about the direction of flow. And getting that when two systems are connected, whether they're people or if it's atmospheric systems, doesn't matter what the systems are, when they connect, energy flows. And when energy flows, there's connection. There has to be connection for energy to flow. And energy only ever flows in one direction. It flows from the high pressure area to the low pressure area. So if your teacher has information that you don't have, then that information that you don't have, right? You've got a vacuum, it fills in the vacuum, and now the systems are evened out. You both have the same information. If the high pressure wind connects to the low pressure area and there's wind, it deflates, and then both areas are even. And once they're even and connected, the flow is very just back and forth minor.
Yeah.
So, and that's the same thing really with every system there is. And systems don't have to be the same to be connected. If you connect with the wind, if you just connect, is it windy today? You want to tune into the weather, lick your finger and put it in the air, right? And the wind blows by, you're getting information. The wind is telling you how fast it's moving and in what direction. You just got information. You connected with the wind and got information that you didn't have before.